Today is Monday. It is March 10th, 2025. It's 3:08 p.m. I've noticed something about I noticed something else about my trading, about myself today. And professional day traders are aware of these things. Now, if a trade is made into a software, there is the human component that is completely removed. But when a hand trade is made, there is that human element. Now, I've noticed this. I've noticed this about myself. I've noticed about this particular trait about myself. And I've experienced this all my life. Okay, so when I was living in a rural farming community back then, when I was 7 or 8 years old, my grandfather gave me some money for me to go get some alcohol. So I would take this canteen and go to the store, get some alcohol, and bring it to him. But I'm thirsty. And so here I am, an 8-year-old, carrying alcohol from the store to the grandfather's house, where my duty is to collect a little bit of money, okay? While I'm doing that, I'm sipping away at the alcohol at the tender age of 8 years old. And so when I get there, my face would be all red. And so the grandfather is looking at me like, I can see what happened to you. But he just kept doing it, right? And so I was liquored up when I was 8 years old. And so that probably caused a liver damage and also some cerebral damage, okay? So this reminds me of this high school teacher who's a social studies teacher. And he told me when he was growing up in a farm, there would be a huge container of farm fuel container. It would be empty. And so him and his friends would open the container and yell into it. So he would yell into it, and there would be an echo, and they would be so fascinated. But all that time, there would be gas fumes that they would be breathing in. So essentially, there has been certain level of mental adjustment that occurs throughout life. Then one day, I moved to Boise, Idaho, and I sent a bunch of letters to Micron, the executives. I must have sent like hundreds, saying, "Hey, I'm the best. Hire me." Okay, and so somehow I got hired. Okay, and then me, my kids, and my ex-wife were separated for so many years, and so I bought a house here with the aid of my mother, and they moved in. And while my daughter was coming from Flagstaff, Arizona, in a huge U-Haul, we stopped at Albertsons. I think it was Albertsons, one of the stores. And she picked up this bowl of watermelon. And this watermelon, if I think about it a little bit more, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not. And so when she bit into it, it was not very good at all. And so it was tossed away, because there has to be some sort of thinking behind making those purchases. And so the moral of the story is there are chemicals in the brain that causes a person to be dislodged from proper method of thinking, where a software has a sequential way of thinking, but there is a chemical imbalance. The chemical imbalance is induced by memory, and that memory subconsciously triggers this emotional chemical drip to occur, causing the subconscious to be impacted. Yeah. And so, even though I'm doing something well here, doing something very similar, like trading on funding traders, I would be trading well. But I have this memory of funding pips where I have lost so many challenges, and this psychological barrier is created by the chemical induced comatose behavior, where I would fall into the same behavior that I have been falling into. And therefore, there is, in a psychological term, there's a psychological term that says, okay, there's a psychological behavior of conditioning. It's a subconscious behavior that I have brainwashed myself into. And people who are afraid of snakes, they will be afraid of snakes subconsciously. And this one guy, so apparently I've heard on YouTube, this guy talked about, okay, so fears are made of certain negative emotions that are caused by a particular situation, and the only way to defeat that is by meeting it head on. That's what he said. I can't remember specifically what the content was about, but the main idea is, if there is a remnant psychological hindrance, that the hindrance is based on a conditioned behavior, and changing that conditioned behavior requires meeting it heads on and resolving the issue so that that type of situation does not occur in the future. And so my mind automatically gets into a chemically induced mindset where I do things that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't think. It instantly switches on this mode based on a conditioned behavior. So what is that? This guy was talking. I was watching this behavior. So it was either I watched a couple channels. One of them is like camping out in the woods, and so could that be it? No, that's not it. And there's these poker channels. They're talking about conditioned behavior and fear, and spearheading right into understanding the behavior of certain instances that causes them to be psychologically undermined. Anyway, it's anticlimactic, but there is this, and I suffer from that. I can see it. I'm playing chess. I just play chess online to see what I do, but I just move without even thinking. And that's exactly what I'm doing. And when I'm washing dishes, because things are so, I'm used to doing things so that my mind just shuts down and I do things. And when I'm cutting up little meat chunks from big pieces of meat, it's all just automatic pilot. I just do it automatically without even thinking. And therefore, that's part of day trading. I'm carrying that over. But if I'm in a state of thinking that allows that practice, that gives me practice into trading until it becomes automatic. I have to think about it. Oh, bingo. So until I make trading automatic, I have to think. And when that thinking process is interrupted by, this is essentially what do you call it? This is called backdoor psychology. This is called unofficial psychology. This is a quack psychology. This is This is what I call a second-hand psychology. But these are things that are this is why this is why Alexander Elder, because he is a psychologist, is able to understand himself and able to make the right trades. That's why it takes very, very smart people who do not have psychological background an immense amount of time to adjust to the new perspective of what psychology is in making trades. And so psychology, trading is about waiting for a particular situation to occur. That can be acquired everywhere. Okay? But it is the psychology of the person that is between hand trading and making it the actual trade, and automated trading using software avoids that psychological part, myself, in making those trades. That's why SMB Capital talks about when people make trades, they each make different types of trades because each person has a different psychological background when they are making the trades. And so that's the situation. That is my situation. Today, the reason I'm making this video is because within an hour and a half, I bought 2 funding traders 10K challenges, and it couldn't be as easy as possible. I mean, the setup was there. I saw it, but my mind was triggered into going long. My mind was triggered into going long and heavy. And I would just put it on there. It would start to draw down and I would not sell, and I would just watch it because I was like in a deer and a headlight kind of a look. I was not prepared to make the proper trades. And it took about an hour before my account was blown, losing $60. And then I bought another one right afterwards, and I did the same thing. Even though I'm seeing it, I can see that it is going down, but I went long for some reason. It's not thinking. It's habituated into my mind, saying that I have to go long. 1, then I have to go big. 2, and then after I'm in, I'm shell-shocked and I can't get out of the trade until it's done. Fortunate for me, it stopped right there. It stopped. I didn't trade anymore. I mean, I didn't gamble anymore. I caught it on the second one, but I wished that I could have got it on the first trade. But there's this chemically induced psychological psychological subconscious kind of a thing that is hidden in me that suppresses it. So psychologists talk about, like, in the recesses of the mind, there is a psychological memory that drives our behavior. There's a psychological behavior that drives our behavior, and they fall back on it. They say, oh, it's because of your earliest childhood issues that are causing you to have this personality, and it is driving the way that you're living your life. Because the brain is shaped into physically. The brain is physically shaped into the experiences that I have lived. Even though if I were to compare it between one brain to the other brain, on an outside level, it looks the same. But internally, the circuits are completely different. That makes me unique. Wow! And so that is causing me to be essentially handicapped in making the right trades. So I know it, but when I get into a situation where my brain has been malnourished or physically tired, then it brings upon this subconscious behavior, and that also triggers this emotional chemical release that adds to this solution to the market, and that single-handedly causes me to keep losing and losing and losing. And then when I look back, it's like 4 to 5 years down the road. And that's why very smart people like Al Brooks, it took them 10 years. Now I see it, right? Anyway, how do I fix this? That is the key to my breakthrough in day trading.